Tour operator engage in the business of extending to individuals or groups such services pertaining to arrangements and bookings for transportation and/or accommodation, handling and/or conduct of inbound tours whether or not for a fee, commission, or any form of compensation. Tour operators are involved in planning, development, promotion, administration and implementation of tourism products. They oversee all the day-to-day tasks and also supervise, motivate and train staff. They are employed by tour or transportation companies, resorts or attractions. A question is asked on this part, but most of the questions were taken on the discussions, previous questions in the quizzes and exam during midterm, because of the lack of time for discussion of the lessons for the final exam. Tour guide shall mean an individual who guides tourists, both foreign and domestic, for a fee, commission, or any other form of lawful remuneration. Having strong communication skills is one of the most important qualities of a good tour guide and a must for tour guide personality traits. You could say they need to have extremely good people skills. As much as tour guides need to be able to speak loud and clear, they need to know how to listen. Good tour guides boost the travel experience and level of customer satisfaction. They're key in making sure the travel experience is run sustainably. A travel agency's covenant with its customers is to make travel arrangements in their behalf. A travel agency's services include procuring tickets and facilitating travel permits or visas as well as booking customers for tours. The relation of a travel agency with respect to a common carrier is that it merely acts as an agent of the common carrier. Through travel agencies, tourists are not stressed over arrangements and important information which can spare a lot of time and effort. Travel agents offer the convenience you can't get when you book on your own. Every aspect of your trip can be taken care of by one agent. For enhanced customer experience, travel agencies tailor-fit packages to respond to particular and significant demands. In order to save time and to be properly guided, people can avail of the following services of a travel agency: A. Passport renewal assistance, B. US visa renewal assistance, C. Airline ticketing, and D. Hotel reservations. Just to familiarize with the enumerations on the benefits provided by travel agency, can help answer items provided on the exam. For accreditation by the Department of Tourism, one of the requirements is in the case of the manager, proof that he has at least 3 years managerial experience in tour operations or has earned a degree in Bachelor of Science in Tourism or has successfully completed a tour operator's course. The Department of Tourism Accreditation Seal certifies any tourism-related establishment that complies with minimum standards for business operations that ensure the safety, comfort, and convenience of tourists. This then assures the public of the quality of service of the hotel and at the same time increase its marketability. Accreditation helps to promote internationally recognized quality standards, assists in the mobility of labor and facilitates global recruitment. It assists providers in the development, enhancement and improvement of their programs and quality management systems and helps them to achieve a competitive advantage. Proof that at least two of the permanent staff have at least two years experience in tour operations. Tourism accreditation assists your business to meet and exceed your customers' expectations through adherence to industry standards and codes of practice. Compliance with business and industry regulations. Development and implementation of business and marketing plans. Accreditation is a vital tourism industry asset, designed to establish and continually improve quality industry standards for conducting a tourism business. The accreditation helps the DOT monitor each travel and tourism establishment in complying with the standards set for the industry. For DOT accreditation purposes, it is desirable for an entrepreneur of a travel agency to be a BS tourism graduate. However, an acceptable qualification for travel agency owners is completion of a seminar on travel agency operations. Alternatively, the owner can also hire a manager who has either BS tourism degree or has 3 years managerial experience in a travel agency. It is vital that an accredited tour guide must have passed a seminar for tour guides duly conducted by the Department of Tourism. But even if one has passed the seminar, it is most important to comply with two vital requirements: the medical or health clearance from a duly accredited government physician and the mayor's permit. Other financial benefits of accreditation that have been cited are improved operational efficiency and reduced liability cases. Accreditation tells insurers and the public that you value safety, that you've made a commitment to best practices and regulatory requirements. In today's travel industry, tour guides are more important than ever. Guides who drive business have the responsibility to enhance the travel experience by keeping guests happy, safe, and inspired. This is the person who can make or break a trip. Therefore, finding the right match for your group is essential. What is DOT accreditation? It is a certification issued by the Department of Tourism, DOT, to a tourism enterprise that officially recognizes it as having complied with the minimum standards for the operation of tourism facilities and services. Failure to exercise prudence and due diligence in the supervision of its employees may hold the tour operator liable for moral and exemplary damages, by reason of the anxiety caused to tourists, especially when misrepresentations were made on tour packages, or by reason of incompetence or lack of experience of tour guides who have not traveled yet in places of which tour packages are being offered. For failure to exercise diligence and prudence in the selection of its employees, tour guides, the travel agency must be liable for the serious anxiety caused to their clients. Such misrepresentations made by agency in their advertisement in the newspapers, which made the client to accept the travel agency's offer, constitutes fraud, which should entitle the tourist for moral and exemplary damages. It is important to remember that negligence in the selection process is a common allegation against a travel agency, maybe more so because of some recent airline or tour operator failures. It may be construed as a reasonable duty for an agency to investigate the financial conditions or reliability of suppliers, especially if their difficulties are well publicized. The defense of contributory negligence is defined as the failure of the claimant to exercise care for his or her safety. It may also be argued that a person assumed the risk when one knowingly or voluntarily exposes oneself to the danger of injury. This defense is often applied in bodily injury claims arising from activities such as skiing, mountain climbing, river rafting, and ballooning. A travel agency, particularly one that specializes in adventure travel, should present a tour operator's waiver detailing the specifics of a tour and areas of potential concern. The purpose of this waiver is to release the tour operator from liability and essentially acknowledges the participants' complete assumption of the risk. Be certain to make sure that the waiver also indemnifies your agency, as you are acting in the role of agent for that tour operator by selling their product. Prohibition against engaging in recruitment activities. Travel agencies and sales agencies of airline companies are prohibited from engaging in the business of recruitment and placement of workers for overseas employment, whether for profit or not. Ticketing and e-commerce. E-ticketing (ET) is one of the most significant opportunities to reduce cost and improve passenger convenience. It reduces ticket processing charges, eliminates the need for paper, and allows greater flexibility to the passenger and the travel agent to make changes on the itinerary. Under the Electronic Commerce Act, electronic documents shall have the legal effect, validity or enforceability as any other document or legal writing, provided the said electronic document maintains its integrity and reliability and can be authenticated so as to be usable for subsequent reference. For evidentiary purposes, an electronic document shall be the functional equivalent of a written document under existing laws. It is only but practical, and for the sake of justice and the protector of the clients, travel agencies are not allowed to recruit people to protect those who have less in life, in the eyes of justice. Labor. Regular employees, or the employees who are deemed regular are those who have been engaged to perform activities which are usually necessary or desirable in the usual trade or business of the employer, and those casual employees who have rendered at least one year of service, whether such service is continuous or broken, with respect to the activity in which they are employed. 4 An employee who is allowed to work after a probationary period. 5 Workers supplied by a labor-only contractor to the principal shall be considered regular employees of the latter. An advantage of being a permanent employee is the security of tenure, so unless for just cause one can enjoy a lifetime employment. Every permanent employee, also known as regular employee, has the right to security of tenure, which gives them protection from being dismissed by their employers without a just or authorized reason and without following the correct grievance procedure. They shall be entitled to security of tenure, humane conditions of work, and a living wage. They shall also participate in policy and decision-making activities affecting their rights and benefits as may be provided by law. Workers' rights encompass a large array of human rights, from the right to decent work and freedom of association to equal opportunity and protection against discrimination. Specific rights related to the workplace include health and safety in the workplace and the right to privacy at work, amongst many others. The workers recruited and hired a company are considered regular employees. If it is evident that the workers were employed through another service enterprises as painters, carpenters, welders, or electricians at its maintenance department, these workers were performing work and activities which are directly related to the nature of the business of the company. They had been employed for a period ranging from 1 year and 4 months to 11 years and 10 months. This continuous employment indicates that their jobs are directly necessary to the daily operation of the business. And as regular employees, they must be accorded security of tenure in their employment. The dismissal of an employee in the Philippines is a sensitive stage and can only be implemented by a just or authorized cause, as defined under the Labor Code. Trial periods and fixed-term contracts can be terminated without difficulty, whereas open-ended contracts are subject to increased protection. Regular employees by nature of work, that is, those who are engaged to perform activities which are usually necessary or desirable in the usual business or trade of the employer. An employer can terminate an employee for just causes, which could be any of the following: 1. Serious misconduct or willful disobedience by the employee of the lawful orders of his employer or representative in connection with his work. 2. Gross and habitual neglect by the employee. Termination of employment. It is the constitutional right of workers to security of tenure and their right to be protected against dismissal except for just and authorized cause and without prejudice to the requirement of notice under Article 283 of the Labor Code. Due process in termination disputes is the heart of security of tenure and is personal to the employee. The following are the standards of due process for termination of employment under Article 282 of the Labor Code. A written notice served on the employee specifying the ground and grounds for termination, and giving to said employee reasonable opportunity within which to explain his side. A hearing or conference during which the employee concerned, with the assistance of counsel if the employee so desires, is given the opportunity to respond to the charges, present his evidence, or rebut the evidence presented against him, and a written notice of termination served on the employee indicating that upon due consideration of all the circumstances, grounds have been established to justify the termination. In case of termination, the foregoing notices shall be served on the employee's last known address. The Department of Labor and Employment states employers must protect labor, provide equal work, promote employment regardless of race, gender, or creed, and regulate relationships with their employees. This law applies to situations such as paying someone less due to prejudice. Can you terminate a regular employee? Employers can dismiss an employee based on just and authorized causes. Just causes are based on acts attributable to an employee's own wrongful actions or negligence, while authorized causes refer to lawful grounds for termination which do not arise from fault or negligence of the employee. Under Article 282 of the Labor Code, the following are considered just causes for termination: serious misconduct or willful disobedience by the employee of the lawful orders of his employer or representative in connection with his work; gross or habitual neglect by the employee of his duties; fraud or willful breach by the employee of the trust reposed by him by his employer or duly authorized representative; commission of a crime or offense by the employee against the person of his employer or any immediate member of his family or his duly authorized representative, and other causes analogous to the foregoing. What are valid reasons to terminate an employee? Acceptable reasons for termination: incompetence, including lack of productivity or poor quality of work; insubordination and related issues such as dishonesty or breaking company rules; attendance issues, such as frequent absences or chronic tardiness; theft or other criminal behavior including revealing trade secrets. These are the only topics included in the exam, in addition with the topics we have covered during